with us today Jim Gordon, who is Intel's former Chief of Staff to the President, and he is the current General Manager for the Economic Recovery Pandemic Response Initiative. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Could you tell us a little bit about your current role and what it is that you are doing to help the community with regards to this pandemic?
Sure. So I've been with Intel for 23 years and had a lot of different roles during that time. Currently, I am serving as the lead for Intel's economic recovery element of its Pandemic Response Technology Initiative. I'll refer to that as PRTI during our conversation, so I don't have to keep saying that over and over again. So the PRTI is Intel's combined coordinated response to the pandemic. It is the one place that we are combining our technology, our money, contributing to the pandemic response, and our innovation and our partnerships to make a difference. And what that's looked like has evolved since we first kicked it off. We have three work streams in the PRTI. One is around health and life sciences, so putting our investment in technology and innovation to work to advance the health and life sciences element of combating COVID-19. Second is distance learning, so helping the teachers and schools around the nation adjust to what is happening and continue the education of students at all different levels, mostly K through 12, but really at all different levels, and particularly in underserved communities. And then third, the economic recovery element, which is the part I lead, is intended to use technology and innovation and partnerships to get companies back to work and to keep them working. Because as we know, there's really, there's no difference in a sense between the economy and health. They both impact each other. So if the economy is healthy, then we think the pandemic will, have less of an effect on the world. So I think it's fair to say that healthcare has been relatively slow to adopt and embrace technology in the delivery of healthcare solutions at all different levels. And so when this pandemic kicked off, I think it served as a big challenge for healthcare at all different levels to accelerate the use of technology, because at the end of the day, technology is going to help us get through this pandemic much quicker than we would be able to without it at all different levels, including in the delivery of healthcare. And also, if you think about healthcare, it's not just the delivery of care to the person who's sick, but also the research and data analytics of finding a solution to COVID, be it treatments or eventually a vaccine. So all of those elements are really at play here. And what we have reassure ourselves of is that technology can make a difference. Adopting new approaches, new innovations can definitely get everybody through this quicker and with less impact. Intel's customers are around the world. We sell microprocessors and platform components to customers in every country on Earth. And so when we do something like the Pandemic Response Technology Initiative, we do it on a global scale. And we're one of a few number of companies that are able to do that successfully. So whether you're talking about distance learning or health and life sciences or economic recovery, we're making investments in partners and customers around the globe, ranging from Africa to Europe, Middle East, and of course in the United States. But we wanted to keep an open mind so that if our customers and partners came to us with innovations and ideas that would make a difference for COVID-19 recovery, that we would be in a position to, to help and to invest. And so it became apparent early on that we could and we should make investments in the area of economic recovery. We had a lot of great ideas come to us from partners and from customers that, like I said, were intended to help businesses get back to business and to stay in business. And so when these ideas started coming in, some really natural focus areas emerged. And these are not focus areas that we started off with. These are focus areas that we observed from our partners and from our customers. So for example, social distance monitoring and enabling. So if you're a company and you're trying to get open or stay open, you're faced with dealing with a lot of new rules and regulations. And those rules and regulations change all the time. And so you not only have to understand what you're being asked to do and how to do it, but also how to implement it and to stay on top of it so that if it changes, you can change too. And so crowd social distance monitoring, health screening for employees or customers coming into a space, using technology to assess the risk. I call it new behavior. I call it new behavior enabling and expectation enforcement. So social distancing, washing hands, behaving in the way that you're being asked to behave. Transportation, health and safety enhancements. So understanding the air handling of airplanes or in office buildings and how that affects, the transmission and spread of COVID-19. And then there's also a lot of, I think, applied, basic applied research that will impact many different areas of business. So for example, surface coatings that maybe make it more difficult for a virus to stick to a surface. We're doing some things with a couple of universities there. So there's these focus areas that have emerged that I think will help us get through COVID faster than we otherwise could, but also have, pay dividends to all industries indefinitely as we face the next challenge, whatever that might be. Sure. Prior to this current role, I worked in cybersecurity at Intel, and specifically in getting our innovations out to the marketplace to help advance the effort around cybersecurity from consumer to enterprise to government. And in that context, I was quite heavily involved in advancing issues of gender equality in the workplace, underrepresented minorities in the workplace, both attracting new talent into technology, but also helping to advance that talent up through the ranks over the years and to make sure that the environment that we provide for our employees is one where people want to work and where everybody's voice is heard. Yeah, so diversity and inclusion at Intel has been a part of our DNA for a long time. And right now it is as important or more important than it's ever been. And we have many, many different types of investments and initiatives to help advance diversity and inclusion in the workplace. I look at MBAs and advanced degrees as a means to the end, not the end themselves. So they're a tool, right? So if I come out of undergraduate and worked inside Intel and already been in the place that I wanted to be, then maybe an MBA wouldn't have been necessary for me. But I feel like many students need to think about it as a mechanism to get where you want to go. Do you want to advance within your existing company? Do you want to change industries? Do you want to change companies within industries? Or do you want to change functions within a company? And if any of those things are true, then an advanced degree may be appropriate. In my case, it was a business degree, and in my case, it was to help me transition from one industry to the next. But everybody's different. And so I encourage students to evaluate it based upon what their objectives are and where they are right now. So before I worked at Intel, I did not work in technology. I worked in a completely unrelated field. Like I said, I've worked at Intel for 23 years. So you can do the math and put yourself back in that time period of what technology was like back then. But I always knew that I wanted to make a transition into technology. And I always knew that there were just a couple companies back then that I felt were going to be a part of the future of the world around technology and how technology is going to change the world. And Intel was one of those. And so my mechanism for making a transition from the industry I was in before to technology was through getting a master's degree in business. It's been a long journey, but I have learned so much, and it's been such a fulfilling career. And it seems almost passé right now to say you want to work in technology, but the change between now and the next 23 years is going to be even more dramatic than the first 23 years of my career here at Intel. And so I would encourage students to really pursue a career in technology, be it on the software side or hardware side, research or sales. It's all an exciting place to be, and it's only going to get more so. The pandemic has forced large enterprise, small and medium business, government, healthcare providers to go faster than they otherwise would, to go faster in adopting and testing technology than they feel comfortable doing. But we have to do collectively what we have to do, and at least the technology is there, and at least we're going to be able to continue on doing business, providing healthcare, providing education, whereas even 5 or 6 years ago, I think we would have been challenged to do that. Right, and it goes without saying that having students learn from home, having healthcare delivered through telemedicine to your home, and having every employee work from home, presents new risks and increases the overall risk profile for any one of those activities. And kind of a theme I had been speaking about earlier is that chief information security officers have been under the gun over the last few years to really change the directionality of cybersecurity. I mean, I oftentimes say, and CISOs don't like me saying this, but if you look at the aggregate investment of dollars into cybersecurity year after year, we keep investing more and more and more, but the damage from cybersecurity keeps going up also. So you invest more, you expect to have some return, but in aggregate, more data records are stolen, more privacy concerns are uncovered, more dollars are stolen. So they've been under the gun to catch up and to change this. And I think that CISOs around the world should be, pretty proud and happy about how they've performed by deploying technology and making sure the regulations that they live by are actually being effective during this pandemic. Because I was very concerned going into COVID-19 that we weren't ready, collectively we weren't ready from a cybersecurity standpoint. But there have been a lot fewer major breaches and major issues than I expected during this. And I think that's testament to the technology industry, to the CISOs that are out there working hard to change the game, and to security researchers at universities and in private sector. Particularly over the last few years, we've seen more and more chief information security officers and executives in the C-suite collaborate around cybersecurity to share information, to partner for better solutions and better outcomes than we would have ever imagined even 5 years ago. And it's, I think it's partly out of necessity. Technology providers are, doing more together to produce better outcomes. Business people and CISOs are, reaching out, being more open, being more transparent, and being more collaborative. And I think it's a necessity if we are to change the directionality of cybersecurity outcomes. And we have really no choice but to collaborate and to be transparent and to share our learnings and take risks to reduce the detrimental outcomes.
Hi, my name is Jim Gordon, and I've worked for Intel for 23 years. During those years, I've become more and more involved in the topics of inclusion and equality in the workplace. And it's a personal topic for me because I have two young, wonderful daughters. As you begin your journey, here are 3 tips to consider. Number 1, get engaged, be active, do not sit on the sidelines. Number 2, always be learning. This is a topic that changes frequently. And number 3, be visible, speak up. Have your actions and your words be how you lead.